Hey everyone, this is a video intended to introduce you to the process of annotation. Apparently I'm going to be assisted by my beagle, George. Hopefully he'll manage not to show up in the video. So, why annotate? Porter O'Donnell tells us, and I haven't memorized this, annotation helps readers reach a deeper level of engagement, and it promotes active reading, and we've talked about that in class several times. It makes readers dialogue with the text, and it makes that dialogue visible record of the thoughts that emerge while making sense of the reading. In short, we can say that annotation is both a memory device and a device to help us make sense of what we're reading. So, I'm going to give you a beast. This particular beast is from one of the texts that I used in my dissertation. So that you're a little prepared for what you're about to see, I've read this text at least 5 times, so there's layer upon layer of annotation, some of which don't really work together very well, and that's partly because each successive time I've approached the text, I have seen something new. And in fact, prior to printing this particular page, I hit it one more time. So you even got what I saw today, which is a little different from what I saw several years ago when I was writing my dissertation. And I was looking for something very specific at that point because of the nature of what I was writing. Today, I wasn't looking for those pieces of specificity because I wasn't looking for the subject of my dissertation. So you'll see a vast array of annotation types. So, take a look at this beast. Do your best to read it. I'm actually going to post the slide separately as well so that you can have a longer shot at reading this. But I will leave it up for a few minutes. There will be a voiceover. I will lead you through some of what I have written. You're looking here at a couple of pages from Thomas Mann's Dr. Faustus. Because I've read this several times, I've made all kinds of different sorts of notations. And in fact, I looked again at it this morning. So you see a very different kind of notation. Many of these are definitions of musical forms because he's writing about a composer. There are several that are questions about Zeitlum, the narrator's veracity. Ostensibly, he's writing about Adrian Leverkühn, the composer, but he often, you'll notice, references himself as the single most important part of the novel. For instance, having found the Hetera Esmeralda as the first person to do so. So I've got questions about him. I've got questions about what's going on. I've got references to external texts, such as the note about Faust II. This is thinking through what connections Mann was trying to make to previous texts. Look carefully at these. Now, having finished that, I want you to consider Chapter 3. You should have already read Chapter 1, or you're beginning to read Chapter 1. And of course, we will annotate parts of Chapter 1 in class, and have already done so. If you're reading this early, we'll be doing that in class. So I want you to take a stab at paragraphs 1 and the closing paragraph of Chapter 3. I also want you to practice some annotation with any of the images in Chapter 1 that we didn't get to, because the way in which we engage a visual text will be very important to later parts of this class. I want you to look in particular at Davis's audience, purpose, and form, and I want you to pay particular attention to the ways in which he engages vocabulary, word choice, and the all-important tone. His tone, of course, is one of the more interesting parts of the book. So, I want you to bring those annotations to class, and you can either do it in the book itself, or you can do a dialectical notebook if you don't want to write in the book. The dialectical notebook, as you might remember, divides a sheet of paper in two. On the left-hand side, you'll write the information, perhaps a quote. On the right-hand side, you'll write your interpretation, which may be in the form of a question. So get ready. Here's your chance to practice annotation on something somebody else wrote, We'll be using this extensively in peer review throughout the semester, so you'll have to get used to looking at annotation from somebody else to you on your papers.